Welcome back to another video. Today in this video, we're going to teach you how to ride a motorcycle. So we're going to go through the basic fundamentals. And basically, if you're going to take the MSF course, then this might help you out with getting started with that. Oh, look at there's a little spider web right there. But this might help you out with getting started. That way you feel a little more comfortable. There's plenty of different videos that you can watch. And this is just my take on how to get started with riding a motorcycle. Me personally, I took the MSF course and then I bought a bike. And so I'm going to share my experience with the MSF course and the process that went into me picking a bike. So the MSF course is probably by far the best way to get into motorcycle riding. It offers you an online course, the actual riding course, and then also a free way, well, kind of the cheat way of getting your motorcycle license. You don't have to get a motorcycle permit for it. So the course is roughly about $300, depending on where you're going. They offer some, if you're in Tennessee, there's Clarksville, Nashville, Columbia, Franklin, Knoxville, Jackson, and Memphis that I know of that has MSF courses that you can take. I took mine on a Saturday and Sunday, which I believe those are the offers for the course. It's roughly from 7 to 3, but when I was doing the course, I showed up at 6 and I was done at 11, so it was not too bad. The things you'll need for the course is you'll need gloves, obviously, a long sleeve shirt, which I do not have on, and some riding shoes, and a helmet. They provide the bike, so you don't have to buy a bike to take the MSF course. You just need to provide the gloves, which gloves vary between $30 to $100 depending on what you want. These are the gloves that I bought when I started. I also have a different set now that I wear, which are red and kind of come up to the wrist instead of covering the wrist. But it's better when you're taking the MSF course to have the ones that come out extended like this, because there's some places that don't let you take them with the small gloves for whatever reason. And then also riding shoes has to come up above the ankle line. And these shoes were about $90. I got them at Nashville Motorsports. And then the helmet that I have is an HJC C70, and that cost me about $210. And it's the same helmet that I have now while doing motovlogging and my shorts and TikTok shorts and reels and all that fun stuff. So yeah, basically for gear, you're looking at about $300 to $400, depending on the expensive side you want to go to or the least expensive side. Now, another thing with the MSF course is you can take, when you take it and you complete it, you get a MSF card. Any dealership, cycle gear, basically anywhere that provides the MSF sponsors will give you a 5 to 20% discount, which is pretty nice. It depends on like where you go. So the process that went into me buying a ZX6R for my first bike is because I wanted something with power, but I didn't want something that I was going to get rid of or bored of in a year. And a lot of the 400 bikes were an option. So the ZX4R was something that the dealership said for a first bike, oh, it's going to be the best first bike. You're not going to get bored of it. All that rundown stuff. Honestly, I didn't want none of that. I didn't want to hear it. So the 400 cc's, I'm not knocking on them. I just didn't feel like it was a bike for me. But when my brothers went to go look at bikes, they wanted ZX6Rs. And we kind of talked about it. We kind of went over like, are we going to get rid of them in a year? Are we going to get bored of them? And honestly, I'm not going to lie, the ZX6R feels like the perfect starter bike, at least for me. The reason it's not too high of a cc and it's not too low. It's a 600cc bike. It's a 636, but it's still in the 600 class range. And honestly, it's got the horsepower and the torque that you want to have a little bit of fun, but it's not too slow and it's not too fast. I mean, you can rip these things if you really wanted to, but I think it's the perfect starter bike. I haven't dropped it yet. It's the right weight for me, and I can control it just fine while I'm taking the turns. I feel really comfortable with leaning, which is a big problem with new riders, is they don't want to lean. And it's just, it's kind of a scary thing at first. But once you get into the habit of leaning more and more, then you'll fall into that groove to where you kind of get lower and lower as you go. So that's enough of me yapping. So the first thing you're going to want to do is when getting a bike is obviously turn it on, all right? So to start the bike, you're going to want to turn the key into the on position, flip the kill switch, hit the power button, turn it off, hit the kill switch, put it in the kill position, and that will kill the bike. When mounting your bike, because there's incorrect ways of mounting a motorcycle, you don't want to mount it from your far side, because your far side is higher than your left side, or the side closest to your kickstand. I call that the far, this is close side. So the low side has the kickstand where it's easier to get on the bike, and what you're going to do for that is you're going to bring your right leg and kind of pop it over your back seat, and that way it never clips, and then you just pivot and you're on your bike just like that. And the same way to get off, you just pivot, take your foot, pivot, reach around, turn. One singular motion. It's pretty easy to get on the bike. And to lift it up, you're just going to want to pull it to the right slightly, make those handlebars straight, pop your kickstand, and turn it into the on position. Once you have it on, you'll be in neutral. So then you also have your clutch here, and your front brake, and your rear brake is right here. Just your little rear brake right there. So once it's on, you're going to want to put it into gear. And how are you going to do that? Well, on the ZX6Rs and most other bikes, it's one click down to go into first gear, and then 5 clicks up to go throughout the different gears. So your next click up will be second, next one, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. To go into neutral, it's half a click up, and usually that's when your bike's not moving or having any power, because the ZX6Rs has a cylinder or a piston in it. If your bike is moving, you can't go into neutral unless you're at a slow speed or in a stationary position. What we're going to do here is start the bike now, and to do that, you don't have to put in the clutch or anything. It just has to be in the on position. Some bikes you have to push in the clutch. On the ZX6R, all you have to do is start it like that. Go into gear. Even though I have the quick shift on, I can pop it into gear like that and it's going to kill it. So for this, we're going to turn off the quick shift. All right. And to do that, if you own a ZX6R or any of the R series that have the quick shift option, you're just going to hold the SEL and the bottom, and it's going to blip it. So we're going to go ahead and start the bike again. All right, so to go into first, we're going to hold in the clutch, go down to first gear. Now don't pop your clutch yet, because what you as a new rider want to figure out your friction zone, and that basically determines when your clutch is going to start slipping to move the bike. Now during the MSF course, they'll do a good job at explaining that, and so what they're going to teach you is a rocking motion between holding your clutch in the friction zone and holding your clutch in the friction zone, which I'll demonstrate here. So we're going to slowly let go of the clutch, and you'll see the bike start to move ever so slightly. You'll hear the motor change a little bit when it's grabbing, and now it's moving on its own. And I'll put it back in, and the motor is back in its idle position. We'll go up the hill real quick in like a sweet spot or like a flat spot so you can see it a little more. All right, so we're stopped. We're going to let go of the clutch just ever so slightly, and we're going to start moving on its own free will, and it's got power, and then push back, and now it's back not delivering power. We're going to come back a little bit, and this is what they're exactly going to teach you. So they're going to pull it out a little bit, the bike's going to start moving and kill it, and then they're going to have you come back again like this. And basically you're just finding when your clutch is going to slip to allow the motor to start getting power, so that way when you do give it some throttle, you're going to continually just go and not stall the bike. So basically what you want to do is when you first start is you're going to want to rock the bike. That's between the friction zone once you found your sweet spot with it, and just rock it back and forth. And to do this, you're going to come up on your heels like this, or you're going to come up on your toes, so you're not going to want to go like this. You're going to want to be flat foot, come up on your toes, and then you're going to want to push back and come back flat foot and then toes again. So we're going to do that real quick, and you can see that like this. This is the friction zone. You can see it pushing. All I'm doing is pushing back, not pushing forward. The bike is doing that for me. And this is what it's going to look like from your point of view. Just letting it go ever so slightly, pushing back, coming back. Then they'll eventually have you go down the range, just using a clutch, no throttle, and then they'll have you come back. And so we'll do that too as well. And this is just understanding your clutch. You don't have to give it any power, and it will go on its own, just like that. And this is all they're going to have you do, is just go around the course in a nice, slow way, no throttle. Honestly, you can do this in your own parking lot if you want to, get your license on your own. But yeah, they're going to have you come around, pass the cone, an invisible cone right here for us, and then come back. Again, they'll have your hand on the handlebar because they're all about safety. But for me, I'm just demonstrating that all you have to do is move the bike is the clutch. And so do that a few times. Once you're comfortable with it, then you're going to want to give it some throttle, and they'll teach you about going into second gear from first to second. So once you figure that out and got used to your friction zone, you're moving, you're coming around, you're doing a couple laps, then you're going to want to go into second real quick. Not real quick, but kind of enough to where it puts it in second. And then they're going to have you coast at this speed and get used to this. And they're not going to have you just turn just yet. They're going to have you stop, put it down to first, make sure the bike's stopped. They're going to have you wiggle it, move it around, a couple cones, and they're going to have you go back the other way. Just give it a little bit of gas. Second gear, no gas, just coasting. We got no gas going. And then they're going to have you come to a slow, complete stop while pushing in your clutch. I went into neutral. But yeah, they're going to have you come to a complete stop from second gear, and then they're going to have you put in the first. Now, once you got that down and you're comfortable with your friction zone, your gear sets, then this is where you're going to start practicing your turning. Now, your turning is not going to be as exciting as one might seem or might feel when starting on their bike. So they're going to have you just basically do a full circle around a parking lot, which is what we're in, and they're going to want you to get comfortable with the bike, not on acceleration, but on maintaining the current speed that you're at. And they'll have you do figure eights and go on each side, so you have the feel of what it's like to go left, what it's like to go right. They'll also have you do hard stops, which is good to understand your front brake, because you don't want to tumble. I've watched somebody at the MSF course, no lie, tumble and broke their collarbone because they put too much pressure on their front brake, didn't use their rear brake at all, which when you're braking hard like that, you want to have a good balance from your front and your rear. So you want to use them at the same time and not just rely on your front, because if you just slam on your front, I'll show you a little bit, it jerks down at a high rate of speed. If you're going and you jerk down like that, you're just going, you're just flying off your bike. So we're going to do a little figure eight. We're going to come around here, go around here, come back. We're going to follow these white lines right here and then come around past this. We're not going to go that far out there, but I'm going to show you basically how you want to turn your bike if you're learning how to turn on it. All right, so we're going to start right here, and we're going to go to second. We're not going to go any higher than that. All right, so we're in second gear, and when you're at a slow speed, all you want to do is slightly turn your handlebars. That's all you want to do, slightly turn them. Not that much. The bike will turn on its own. Now, when you go up in speed, then that's when the lean and everything plays a factor. It's all about momentum and gravity. Now, I'm not using the clutch at all while taking these turns. So that is something that you're going to want to practice and make sure that you maintain because you don't want to rip through these corners and, you know, pulling your clutch and then start dropping your foot, which a lot of people will do. I did it when I first started. I dropped my foot down thinking it was gonna stop me from falling, but honestly, all you have to do is trust you and your bike. Your bike will, you know, if you put trust in your bike will put that trust right back in a physical way of not letting you fall off of it. So we're just going to do one more lap real quick. And then once you're in the parking lot too, and you get a good comfortability of maintaining your bike, maintaining the gears, then that's when you can go on the back roads. I wouldn't start on like a street, like with a lot of cars or a lot of traffic. I would go on something a little small, you know, not many people use, and get an understanding of how your bike handles on an actual road instead of just a small little parking lot. All right. And I guess we'll do one little full circle, because during the MSF course they do have like a long straight and then a turn and then a long straight, and they kind of have you go up to 20 miles an hour, which that's pretty quick on this kind of bike. But I'll show you basically like the speed of going to third gear. And here, as the speed gets higher, you'll start seeing lean play a factor. And this is what I mean by the lean part. And then what they'll have you do is they'll have you rip the straight, and then come slow, and then come back down. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to maintain the speed and get used to a fast acceleration. And make sure it's a little bigger, you know, and it's not small like this, because if you do, you know, a big take like that in a small parking lot like this, you're not really achieving much. But make sure it's like a really decent sized parking lot while you're practicing this. But yeah, that is basically the short summary. Not really a short summary, but that's my take on how to get people into riding a motorcycle. And this is my way of teaching, so it's not probably the best, but it's the way I explain stuff and how I basically translate how I learned. Looking at your first bike, I do recommend a ZX6R. And any questions when it comes to how to ride, the kind of equipment that you need, you guys can feel free to DM me. Either this is on TikTok, Instagram, or my YouTube page, which has a private DM feature somewhere, I'm sure. Or you can comment below. Let me know how your MSF course experience was and what your first bike is. I'm pretty interested to know also how this helped you. Remember, friction zone, maintaining the control of your bike is going to be the two number one things. Basically, your clutch and your brakes, not really your clutch, but your brakes, well, yes, your clutch control and your brake control is going to be what saves you on this bike in the long term. It's not going to cause you to burn it up, and it's going to cause you to be a better rider once you maintain everything that you get taught and teach yourself as a rider. When riding, you're obviously going to experience different things. You're going to experience maybe the worst or the best case scenarios, but take those experiences and cram them into, knowledge, because the more knowledge you have on something like this, the better your outcome is going to be long term. If you found this video helpful, give it a like, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you want to follow me on TikTok, Instagram, then those links will be in the description as well. We're trying to hit 1,000 followers on those social media pages as well. Let me know your experience that you guys had for sure at the MSF course, at the dealership, how your process went, and stay safe out there for sure.